morning. Welcome back to Taylor Time Live. I'm your host, Seth Gladden, and today we will be continuing our series on selling more flooring adhesive. Today we'll be covering the benefits of selling more flooring adhesive, and so we encourage you to stay tuned. If you want to check out previous episodes, just go to our YouTube channel and you can find all of them under our live playlist. I am excited today, though, because we have Shelley Ackerman with us in studio.
In studio and live.
That's right. And Shelley, you joined us last month.
I did.
So thanks for coming back. But this time you're actually here. So.
Yeah, you threatened to bring me in studio, and
I did,
poof,
and here you are.
I am.
That's
it
right.
Happens. The magic happens.
That's right. Well, we're glad to have you here, Shelley. Before we dive into today's topic of what are the benefits of selling flooring adhesive. I know last month, so if you missed it, last month, go check it out. You talked quite a bit about your history and kind of your background, but give us the 15 to 30 second overview of who you are.
Absolutely. Thanks, Seth. And again, thanks for having me in studio. Last month we did talk a little bit about my career and maybe how it's relatable to the flooring world, because I never thought that I would end up in flooring, but after 9 years.
None of us did.
I know, it happens. 9 years in design and then 22 years at Armstrong Flooring with a variety of different roles. And the past 18 months with Taylor have been fantastic. So again, just happy to, impart some flooring knowledge from multiple lenses.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, we are glad to have you for sure, but also glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
So the topic that we're talking about, or that we're going to dive into today is, like I said, the benefits of selling flooring adhesive. But obviously, as you see, the title is different. Would you like fries with that, right?
Absolutely.
And you're actually the one that chose that title.
I did.
So tell us what's going on there.
Well, I mean, for anyone that knows me, French fries are a food group. They're not a side.
So they're like, where do they fall in the
whole scheme of things?
table?
Yes, exactly. And sometimes the French fries are the meal. It's the most satisfying part of the meal. So again, just being very playful. But you think about adhesives, and sometimes they're an add-on or an afterthought, but they actually play a very important part of the meal or the sandwich or whatever that you're enjoying. So again, to me, it almost becomes a question, well, would you like fries with that?
Right.
Would you like adhesive with that? What adhesives are you using? What are your job site conditions? All of those things. So very playful. That's all, just trying to bring a little bit of levity to, what could be a very tacky subject.
Ooh, puns, I like it. No, I think it follows, though, because really it's changing that mentality, and that's what we're talking about today is the benefit of selling more flooring adhesive, and that's almost more of a method, right? Mm-hmm. But it's that mentality or that perspective shift of, would you like fries with that? No matter where you go, Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, matter. It doesn't matter. They're going to ask you that, mm-hmm. right? I forget how they ask it at Chick-fil-A, but they probably got some better way of asking.
Exactly.
But no, that concept of like every time asking for that.
It's assuming you want fries with that. It's making that assumptive close that, well, you're just going to naturally want fries. You're going to naturally want adhesive.
If you're selling a floor that's meant to be glued down, you probably need glue with it.
You probably need some adhesive.
They're going to end up with it.
Yes,
how do we get there?
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the processes through that and what some of those different benefits are. So as we look at flooring adhesives, and you can break it into some categories, we'll do that in a minute, but do you feel like flooring adhesives can offer a benefit of added insurance or control, and maybe those two are kind of joined of a project?
I mean, they're absolutely joined. I mean, you think of some of the power that a flooring adhesive might have, and it offers potentially sound attenuation. You can get into some adhesives that have some sound properties to that. You get into some moisture control adhesives. You get into just proper chemistry and the right bond, whether you want a transitional adhesive or a firm set adhesive. So all of those things provide assets and benefits to a flooring product.
Right.
So that's what gives you that level of insurance. And guess what? Not all adhesives are created equal either. There are some, adhesives that do some things really well. There are some adhesives that do everything really well. But it's also, I think, knowing what your job site requires, what kind of insurance, if that's the word that you want to use, that you need.
Which may be a bad word for it, right? I know I asked the question that way, but when people think insurance, it's policy, right? We're talking about like just that peace of
confidence.
mind, right?
Yep.
That
It's
that goes
installation.
along with, yeah.
Installation confidence,
Yeah.
perhaps, is a better way to put it.
So, you know, when you're looking at that, because you can look at it from the perspective of an adhesive manufacturer. Obviously, we make all types of adhesives, but you can also look at it from the perspective of, you know, a flooring manufacturer that has their own, you know, line of adhesives. Oftentimes, they will offer multiple that can do, you know, like take Resilient. You know, you could have one product or 10 products that work with Resilient. So I guess the point you're making is kind of like the difference of knowing, and then that can be the benefit of a salesperson knowing like, what should I use, what should I recommend, when to use which one on a job site.
Right, there's that. And then, you know, there's also, as the manufacturer of, you know, their own branded adhesives. So there's also that insurance, again, using that word, but it should be maybe project confidence of using the manufacturer's recommended adhesive, which may in fact be a manufacturer's branded adhesive. So again, you're buying that system warranty between the adhesive and the finished flooring product that you're putting on top of it. So again, leading into that project confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And as a salesperson in flooring, knowing that you have that knowledge and that ability helps give you control of that job site then.
It absolutely does.
Can you talk a little bit about what that control looks like and why it's important? What's, I guess, at the end of the day, benefit, right? What's the benefit of having that control when it comes to like the long term of that flooring install?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about callbacks on a job site. You know, no one makes money on a callback. So it's maybe limiting the amount of callbacks you might have on a project. You look at also a relationship and the trust that you've built now with an end user or a specifier or a general contractor. It's having that project confidence, again, if that's the word that we're going to use, that project confidence that this is the right adhesive for this application, to therefore, again, reduce the callbacks, make sure that the product performs the way it was designed to, and, you know, just be that subject matter expert. I think you mentioned it before too, that there are a lot of adhesives that can install multiple products.
Right.
And, you know, it's again, knowing which adhesive is designed for which product, or it could be as simple as having that one bucket that does so many different things. But, you know, it's again, knowing it's the right finished floor with that product.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess a huge benefit is then having that job site control and that site insurance, if you want to call it that, of the peace of mind knowing what's going on.
Absolutely.
You know, when we look at flooring adhesives, there's so many, and depending on what you're installing and sometimes even where in the country, or the type of job site, sustainability can be a huge issue, right?
It can.
So how would you see that playing a part of being a benefit of knowing the differences in flooring adhesives and then again having that control, like saying, hey, here's a sustainable option. So what do you see as the benefit of that?
Absolutely. So, you know, a lot of your higher end adhesives will have some certifications to them, have naturally low VOCs, have certifications like from Mindful Materials or Floor Score certifications, which again gives comfort and peace of mind to not only a specifier, also the end user, to know that whatever they're putting into that space is not creating anything harmful for the occupant's future state. And then think about the installer that's actually applying the adhesive to know that that has very low VOCs. So, you know, sustainability becomes a buzzword and it's very inclusive, but you think about it's also just doing the right thing for all of the different touch points that you have along a project.
Yeah.
You know, and again, there's so many certifications. I mean, you're never going to get to a LEED certification just by using a particular flooring adhesive. But again, it's having that peace of mind and it's that contributing factor that could also play a role in that as well.
Yeah. So, you know, with sustainability, I think like you said, that's a huge conversation, and we will circle back to it. But you know, knowing the difference and then looking, you said a lot of the more premium adhesives, right? But when you quantify that out over, like on a square footage price, what are we looking at? Like, is there a huge difference?
Fractions of pennies usually is what it narrows down to. And when I say premium adhesive, you know, I don't mean that it's a super expensive adhesive. It could certainly be an entry-level adhesive, but you're probably not going to find some of those adhesives in, a bargain retailer or even potentially a home center. Maybe not, but it's
Sure.
primarily the branded adhesives, whether it's a manufacturer's branded adhesive or a high quality adhesive manufacturer that's going to go through that certification process, because it's not easy. And guess what? It's expensive to get some of those certifications, but it's also the right thing to do, and it's worth it.
Yeah. So I think that's another great benefit of not only having the adhesives there that you can recommend then, but also knowing those. And I think that's the point you were making last month was, knowing the products that are available and when to choose what.
Right.
So we will come back to sustainability though more in depth soon. But let's switch a little bit to, I guess, what you might call a hot topic, right?
Okay.
Of money.
Hot fries? Hot
yeah,
topic?
Yeah. Ooh, I like it. Man, you got the jokes today.
I'm fired.
That's right. No, I think when it comes to money or profit margin, or even dollars that go into pockets, and we'll kind of take it step by step here. But when we look at profit margin on a flooring job, right? You have different, like, you've got flooring manufacturers, you've got flooring distributors, you've got flooring retailers, and flooring contractors, and all of those kind of see that maybe a little bit differently. So maybe we'll take a look at those individually, but profit margin, like, how do you see adhesives playing a part in the profit margin of, let's start with a flooring manufacturer?
Sure. I mean, as a flooring manufacturer, to private label an adhesive, it gives you that additional credibility when it comes to that installation system. So you're standing behind the adhesive, but guess what? So is the adhesive manufacturer. They're standing behind the adhesive. It's a great selling tool for the sales teams that work for that manufacturer to, again, have that peace of mind. Harkening back to my Armstrong days, that was a big deal, was to have that system warranty that was an Armstrong branded adhesive with an Armstrong branded product, and maybe it was even a certified installer at the time. So it was that peace of mind that everybody held hands together.
Yeah.
So that's where it's a cool thing.
Yeah. Well, and like you mentioned earlier, it gives you that job site control now.
It
you
does.
have that visibility on what the job site is, which adhesive is correct, and as a salesperson, you can help select that then.
Well, and guess what? You can also look at it from a logistics standpoint as well. So if you're shipping a pallet of material to a job site, you're top loading some adhesive to that pallet. So your installer is getting everything that he needs on that particular day to get that job done. So he does not have to go hunt for an adhesive from one place or wait for delivery from another place. It's all bundled together when it's shipped directly from that manufacturer.
Well, and when you look at it from a profit standpoint, right, or a dollar standpoint, if it's a floor that's meant to be glued down, it's going to get glued down, right? 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. How often would you say a flooring manufacturer, I know this is a big question, you maybe can't even give me a number, but how often would you say that a flooring manufacturer, on average, like what would their attachment rate, or maybe a different way to say that would be like, what percentage of flooring sales do you think go out the door with an adhesive attached to them?
I think there's a lot of dynamics, and it's probably tough to answer that question because you may be receiving a pallet of product that's got the adhesive bundled with it. So at some point along the way, someone was asked, would you like fries with that? And that adhesive showed up with that order, and it was shipped to the job site, and it's a very neat little package. There are scenarios where it could be a very fragmented sale, so it's just the flooring arrives because it's all that person wanted, and the adhesive is being supplied by maybe a general contractor, maybe by an installer, someone like that. So it's then having to track down. Time is money. So if you've got a flooring installer having to go track down an adhesive, maybe the adhesive didn't show up to the job site. And all of that, again, takes money, takes time.
Right.
So it's just having that control.
But also not making that sale, right? If the flooring manufacturer doesn't make the sale of that adhesive, if their attachment rate is, let's call it 50%.
Right, or less.
Right, or less, or, could be more, but whatever that rate is, if it's not 100%, they're missing out on that profit margin, right?
Absolutely.
So then let's talk a little bit about distribution, because we know 100% of flooring manufacturer sales of flooring don't go out the door with adhesive.
Right.
So now let's get to a distributor. What does that look like for a profit for a flooring distributor?
I mean, as a distributor, it's, training their customer service reps. A lot of them do it already, but I think sometimes, when an order might come in, it could just be a very transactional phone call that, someone needs to place an order for, X number of square feet of LVT, and it was a missed sale or a missed opportunity to say, well, hey, this is a glue down product. You might need adhesive with this. Have
Right.
you thought about this particular adhesive, or we're running a special on this adhesive, or, hey, if you top load a pallet of adhesive with this order, we can offer reduced shipping. Those kinds of smart questions. And then you are also, as a distributor, kind of endearing yourself to that purchaser to say, hey, that person just made my job a little bit easier by answering or asking me some questions that,
Yeah.
I should have maybe asked, or I just didn't give any time to. And that person saved me some time. And guess
Yeah.
what? Again, time is
Time
money.
is money, yeah. But money's also money, right?
Money is also money.
So if you're looking at a distributor, very seldom does a distributor probably have 100% attachment rate of adhesives going out the
Right.
door either.
Right.
Again, someone's going to sell that. So somewhere in the process before that floor gets installed, there's adhesive on the job site, right?
Yep.
Or it can't be installed. So I guess the question is, who's making that money? So the ideal here is, if you're a flooring manufacturer, sell adhesive with your
Sell
flooring.
adhesive with the flooring.
If you're a flooring distributor,
Sell adhesive
Right.
with the flooring.
and sometimes the questions go beyond, and I love this, would you like fries with that? But just like you said, a lot of times it's knowing how to follow that up with additional questions.
Right.
If they say, no, I'm good, maybe ask the question like, well, what adhesive are you using? And then if you know anything about the job site, maybe you can direct them somewhere else. And like you said, now you're their friend, their hero.
Right. Well, and again, I mean, it becomes very tactful, but it's okay. So you're getting adhesive, and I mean, we don't make trowels, but well, guess what? You're going to need some trowels to go
Right.
with that adhesive.
Yeah.
So that goes into the whole profitability of selling more adhesives. It's all those added ancillary items that are
Yep.
added on to a sale. So it's the flooring, it's the adhesive, it's the trowels.
It's the substrate prep. It's
Yep.
all the things we talk about. So
Absolutely.
So let's look at profit again from the flooring retailer.
Okay.
So it's a little different than a distributor,
is.
but there's some similarities. But what would you say lives in that world?
So I think from a retailer lens, you think about maybe a do-it-yourself or DIY customer that comes in. I mean, floating floors, LVT floors, even some modular carpet tiles are being sold at retail, and they're very much segmented or marketed towards the DIYer. Again, DIYers probably don't have a level of confidence in adhesives. So if I'm a retailer, I would like to probably align myself with a trusted adhesive manufacturer. And it's probably not a big portfolio of products that you have to carry to support an adhesive, but it's a handful of couple of products. And then it's to that DIYer or to even a just an installer. That's all he's doing is installing flooring. Make it easy, make it that one-stop shop. So hey,
Yeah.
You're going to buy a couple of cartons of this glue down LVT product. What are you going to glue down with it? Here's your adhesive that we recommend. And again, it's making that customer experience and that journey a little bit easier if it's a to consumer product,
Yep.
or again, even an installer that's popping in because he knows that this particular retailer has adhesive
Yep.
available, ready to go.
Well, and again, I mean, it comes back to the same thing with all these, but it's margin dollars, right? Someone's going to make it somewhere.
Absolutely. So why wouldn't it be you?
And if it's not the flooring manufacturer and it's not the distributor and it's not the retailer, we're left with pretty much one option. That's the contractor, right?
Yep.
So what about the flooring contractor? How can they, does it matter to them to get adhesive and include that with the job, or should they just leave that up to the sub or the flooring installer?
Well, that was a very leading question.
was.
No, they should not leave that up to anyone. They should definitely influence that specification. And I think if you watched last month, I'm a big fan of the flooring contractor community. I understand the work that they do, and a lot of them are subject matter experts, and they really are the ones that know the right products to install for the given space and the right adhesives to use with those particular products. If you're a project manager or a flooring contractor, again, we talked about adhesives costing pennies per square foot, and just having that added level of insurance. Also, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not selling adhesive along with your overall installation system as well. And you can get, some really nice margin dollars from adhesives, because again, if you look at your spread rates and your coverage rates of being pennies, no one usually questions, an overall cost of an adhesive when they're looking at the overall installed cost of a product with their adhesive. So, I'm just saying that there's probably an opportunity, and maybe people don't value the adhesives enough, that there's probably more opportunity to make more margin dollars with something that doesn't feel as big of a sting as adhesives can versus a finished flooring product. It's tougher to swallow a $10 cost of a finished good versus maybe 2 or 3 more pennies per square foot of a higher quality adhesive.
Yeah, if that, like you said, sometimes a fraction of that. So, and as we look at that, obviously money is not everything, right? But it is important. And when you look at those margin dollars and then you combine that with the benefits we just talked about, with your ability to influence the sustainability or environmental impact that an adhesive might have, along with controlling that job site, I mean, why would you not?
Why would you not want fries with that?
Yeah, exactly. They taste better anyway.
Right.
As long as they were climate controlled.
Yes, of course.
If they're wet and soggy.
No, they have to be hot. Remember, they're hot
right.
fries. Yeah. Just not hot adhesives.
So we've kind of looked at the profit margin. Let's bring this to a personal level though. Like take a flooring salesperson, right? And they're the way they're making money is by selling, and that could be any flooring salesperson, right? It could be any of those that we just discussed. But how can flooring adhesives impact or be a benefit to that individual?
I think flooring adhesives can be a benefit and have impact in a variety of different ways. I mean, if you look at, again,
money.
On the money side, you
okay.
look at a project manager, flooring contractor, again, it's having that confidence to know that it's the right product. Again, they're getting a premium product, so you're potentially upselling that adhesive product. You're asking for that order from the specifier, basically, and from the end user. You have an ability to influence the right adhesive as the project manager or a flooring contractor to that end user, that this is the right product for the right reason. I think there's also a little bit of an opportunity to partner with the distribution side as well. So you've got the flooring contractor and the distributor, again, kind of holding hands on that profit side and the ability to make money. If a flooring salesperson is not asking for an adhesive order at the same time that he's talking to an end user, it's a missed opportunity. I mean, you asked early on what the attachment rate is. I mean, I think best in class attachment is 50%. I don't think that that's the norm. It's not the norm. I mean, I think anywhere between 20 and 40% of an attachment rate of a branded adhesive feels about right. So to me, that means that if you're a flooring manufacturer and you're not having your own brand attached to that flooring sale, that's incredible upside for you on the adhesive side.
Sure.
And I mean, you said it, pay structures are all over the place, but I think a lot of salespeople are incentivized or commissioned on products like adhesives.
Yeah. So by asking a question like,
would you like fries with that?
Would you like fries with that, right? Or would you like adhesive with that? Just by being bold and willing to ask that, and then hopefully have a little bit of knowledge to back that up, you can change that paradigm and for yourself. You may not change a whole company culture, but you can change it for yourself. And so the impact to the individual sounds like there's some good opportunity there.
There's upside. I mean, you think about it being inquisitive as well. Well, I wonder how they're going to install that product. Well, let's just ask the question. Don't assume. Never assume that someone knows the answer or that someone's made a predetermined product selection, even on the finished goods. If there's an opportunity for you to be that trusted advisor, make those recommendations along the way. That's where the would you like fries with that, or the assumptive close is, well, what adhesive are we using on that product? This is, requires an adhesive. Let's make this recommendation.
Well, again, I think it comes back to the simple math of 100% of floors that are designed to be glued down will in fact be glued down. So who's making that sale? So I think that's the point there.
That is.
So, I think beyond that, and we've talked about it a little bit, but the power of questions, right? So that's a huge benefit when it comes to adhesives, because there's as we've talked about before, there's a lot of different, what goes into different products and why you choose one, like you said at the beginning, like sound control or moisture control or these different, sustainability, these different things. But how can a flooring salesperson, A, know the right questions to ask, and then B, is that a benefit?
There's no such thing as a dumb question. I mean, that's first and foremost. And I think there's a lot of times where even if you know the answer, ask the question, is this the right adhesive, or is this the right finished product? Is this, the overall goal and intention of this space? Is the job site ready to receive the product and the flooring? I mean, you may already know the answer, but I think by someone asking a question, it maybe causes everybody to stop and think a little bit, or gives you the opportunity to say, well, here's why I would recommend this. Right. And again, you may already know the answer and know that this is the right product for this project, and let me tell you why. Yeah.
Well, or even something as simple, or what might sound simple, as like a porous or non-porous substrate. Mm-hmm. Because if you're a salesperson that not only, like you said, not only sells flooring and adhesive, but maybe tools as well, I mean, we're talking, there's a lot of products that it's a totally different tool,
right?
Totally different coverage rate, like depending on, and if you use the wrong one, it's gonna be a failed floor.
Right.
So knowing those questions, I think, and then that really, I guess, so the benefit of that becomes, you're solving problems.
You are. You're solving problems, and you're also creating relationships. Problems are opportunities, and that's always the way that I've looked at them. And if you're a flooring contractor talking to a general contractor, you're walking a job site. A lot of guys are trained, and girls, a lot of people are trained to, understand what some of the job site conditions are, to say, hey, this isn't right, or we have a product that can solve this problem. Maybe this concrete isn't ready for an installation yet. So, what are we going to do to get there?
Yeah. Well, and you just said it. That was my last question for you.
Sorry.
But no, it's awesome because it's perfect. But you've said it a couple times, is that relationship, right? Mm-hmm. So I think, where do you see the relationship lying, and is that a benefit to knowing about flooring adhesives and being able to kind of guide your client? How does that impact a relationship?
Well, I mean, think about it. Everybody makes the joke, once you get into the flooring business, you never get out of the flooring business.
And here we are.
And here we are. But why is that? It's not, well, I can't say this. Can I say this? It's not because, adhesives are super sexy and they're fun to sell.
You can say that. Even though I'm marketing,
right.
You can say that.
Okay, I said it. But, it's all about the relationships. I mean, people like doing business with people and people that they trust. I mean, what better way to be a trusted advisor than to be able to impart some knowledge, have some of that product confidence, make someone's life or job or situation that much easier by being that trusted resource. I mean, again, I don't think any one person on the planet knows everything about everything, but if you know a little bit about a few things, and you're always going to learn along the way. So it's developing those relationships by asking those probing questions like, would you like fries with that?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the whole point. You just said it. Be bold.
Be bold.
Know what you're selling enough to where when you ask, would you like it, you can then give them the fries.
Have the confidence. And you know what? Maybe we were remiss in titling this segment. Maybe it should be, I'm assuming you want fries with that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Well, you said never assume though, right?
Never assume, right.
You're going to take fries with that, right?
Every day, all day long, and instead of anything else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So which fries would you like? You want a large, medium, small, medium, large. Well, Shelley, thank you so much. It's been great to have you in studio.
Thank you for having me.
We are out of time for today, but we will bring you back.
Good.
I don't know yet when, but we'll figure that out.
I'll look forward to it. And guess what? It's lunchtime, and you can pretty much guarantee what I am having for lunch.
Yep. Well, thanks for being here. That is all the time we have. I would encourage you to go and follow us on social media, subscribe to our newsletter, download our app if you don't have it. That's a great tool. Remember to tune back in the third Tuesday of every month for our next Taylor Time Live. And remember, at Taylor Adhesives, we're with you every step.